the best-formed sheep. Therefore a beard and rough hair spread upon the body is becoming to all men. I have but one eye centered perfectly within my forehead, so it seems most like a mighty buckler. Ha! Does not the sun see everything from heaven? Yet it has but one eye. Galatea, you must know, my father is chief ruler in your sea, and therefore I now offer him to you as your own father-in-law. But oh, do take some pity on a suppliant, and hear his prayer, for only unto you my heart is given. I, who despise the power of Jove, his heavens and piercing lightnings, am afraid of you, your wrath more fearful than the lightning's flash. But I should be more patient under slights if you avoided all men. Why reject the Cyclops for the love that Acis gives? And why prefer his smiles to my embraces? But let him please himself, and let him please you, Galatea, though against my will. If I am given an opportunity, he will be shown that I have every strength proportioned to a body vast as mine. I will pull out his palpitating entrails, and scatter his torn limbs about the fields, and over and throughout your salty waves. And then let him unite himself to you. I burn so, and my slighted passion raves with greater fury, and I seem to hold and carry Aetna in my breast, transferred there with its flames. O Galatea, can you listen to my passion thus unmoved? I saw all this, and, after he in vain had uttered such complaints, he stood up like a raging bull, whose heifer has been lost, that cannot stand still, but must wander on through brush and forests, that he knows so well. When that fierce monster saw me and my Acis, we neither knew nor guessed our fate. He roared, I see you, and you never will again parade your love before me, in such a voice as matched his giant size. All Aetna shook and trembled at the noise, and I, amazed with horror, plunged into the adjoining sea. My loved one Acis turned his back, and fled, and cried out, Help me, Galatea, help! Oh, let your parents help me, and admit me safe within their realm, for I am now near my destruction. But the Cyclops rushed at him and hurled a fragment he had torn out from the mountain, and although the extreme edge only of the rock could reach him there, it buried him entirely. Then I did the only thing the fates permitted me. I let my Acis take ancestral power of river deities. The purple blood flowed from beneath the rock, but soon the sanguine richness faded, and became at first the color of a stream, disturbed and muddied by a shower, and presently it clarified. The rock that had been thrown then split in two, and through the cleft a reed, stately and vigorous, arose to life, and soon the hollow mouth in the great rock resounded with the waters gushing forth. And wonderful to tell, a youth emerged, the water flowing clear about his waist, his new horns circled with entwining reeds, and the youth certainly was Acis, though he was of larger stature, and his face and features all were azure. Acis changed into a stream which ever since that time has flowed there and retained its former name. So Galatea, after she had told her sorrow, ceased, and when the company had gone from there, the Nereids swam again in the calm and quiet waves. But Scylla soon returned, because she did not trust herself in deep salt waters, and she wandered there naked of garments on the thirsty sand. But, tired, by chance she found a lonely bay, and cooled her limbs with its enclosing waves. Then suddenly appeared a newly made inhabitant of that deep sea, whose name was Glaucus. Cleaving through the blue sea waves, he swam towards her. His shape had been transformed but lately for this watery life, while he was living at Anthedon in Euboea. Now he is lingering from desire for her he saw there, and speaks whatever words he thought might stop her as she fled from him. Yet still she fled from him, and swift through fear climbed to a mountain top above the sea. Facing the waves, it rose in one huge peak, parting the waters with a forest crown. She stood on that high summit quite secure, and, doubtful whether he might be a god or monster, wondered at his flowing hair which covered his broad shoulders and his back, and marveled at the color of his skin and at his waist merged into a twisted fish. All this he noticed, and while leaning there against a rock that stood near by, he said, I am no monster, maiden. I am not a savage beast. I am in truth a god of waters, with such power upon the seas as that of Proteus, Triton, or Palemon, reared on land the son of Athamas. Not long ago I was a mortal man, yet even then my thought turned to the sea, and all my living came from waters deep. For I would drag the nets that swept up fish, or, seated on a rock, I flung the line forth from the rod. The shore I loved was near a verdant meadow. One side were the waves, the other grass, which never had been touched by horned grazing cattle. Harmless sheep and shaggy goats had never cropped it. No industrious bee came there to harvest flowers. No festive garlands had been gathered there, adornments of the head. No mower's hands had ever cut it. I was certainly the first who ever sat upon that turf, while I was drying there the dripping nets. And so that I might in due order count the fish that I had caught, I laid out those which by good chance were driven into my nets, or credulous were caught on my barbed hooks. It all seems like a fiction, but what good can I derive from fictions? Just as soon as any of my fish prey touched the grass, they instantly began to move and skip as usual in sea water. While I paused and wondered, all of them slid to the waves, and left me, their late captor, and the shore. I was amazed and doubtful a long time, while I considered what could be the cause. What god had done this? Or perhaps the juice of some herb caused it. But, I said, what herb can have such properties? And with my hand I plucked the grass and chewed it with my teeth. My throat had hardly time to swallow those unheard-of juices, when I suddenly felt all my entrails throbbing inwardly, and my entire mind also felt possessed by passions foreign to my life before. I could not stay in that place, and I said with shouting, "Farewell, dry land, never more shall I revisit you." And with those words upon my lips I plunged beneath the waves. The gods of that deep water gave to me, when they received me, kindred honors, while they prayed Oceanus and Tethys both to take from me such mortal essence as might yet remain. So I was purified by them, and after a good charm had been 9 times repeated over me, which washed away all guilt, I was commanded then to put my breast beneath 100 streams. So far I can relate to you all things most worthy to be told, for all so far I can remember, but from that time on I was unconscious of the many things that followed. When my mind returned to me, I found myself entirely different from what I was before, and my changed mind was not the same as it had always been. Then, for the first time, I beheld this beard so green in its deep color, and I saw my flowing hair which now I sweep along the spacious seas, and my huge shoulders with their azure-colored arms, and I observed my leg extremities hung tapering exactly perfect as a finny fish. But what avail is this new form to me? Although it pleased the ocean deities, what benefit, although I am a god, if you are not persuaded by these things? While he was telling wonders such as these, quite ready to say more, Scylla arose and left the god. Provoked at his repulse, enraged, he hastened to the marvelous court of Circe, well-known daughter of the sun. End of Book 13, Part 4. Recording by Brian Haggerty, Minneapolis, Minnesota.